I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Mark your calendars, register, and join us for the upcoming Rainbow Push events in cities near you. We're convening the family. It's Reverend Jackson's birthday. Let's honor and celebrate our world icon, civil rights leader, founder, and president during the 21st Annual Awards Gala in Los Angeles, California. We're expanding opportunities through diversity, inclusion, and equity partnerships. Register today for the 2019 Creating Opportunity Conference in Atlanta, Georgia, October 10th and 11th, 2019. We're expanding the African American pipeline. There's more to the car than the ride. Attend the Push Automotive Summit in Detroit, Michigan, October 31st through November 1st, 2019. We're disrupting the arc, emerging technologies, civil rights, and civil liberties. Make your way to the Telecom Media and Telecom Symposium in Washington, D.C., November 2019. Keep hope alive.
Let it ring out and we shall overcome. Oh, we shall overcome someday. Well, deep in his heart mind, I believe that we shall overcome someday. Oh, listen. Through sickness, heartache, and pain, sunshine and storm and rain, in the midst of it all, though you stumble and fall, you shall rise again. Sometimes when I'm feeling despair, just know that God is still standing there, saying we shall overcome someday. Oh, somebody sing, we shall overcome. Let it ring out and we shall overcome. Oh, we shall overcome someday. Deep in his heart mind, oh, I still believe that we shall overcome someday. Oh.
Everybody to the Operation Push Forum of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Put your hands together, everybody. It's back to school. It's back to school. I'm Santita Jackson, and I'm so pleased to be with you today as we welcome our children. Put your hands together, everybody. Amen. We're coming to you live today from a very special place in our organization's heart, the Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church. Its founder is the great, iconic Reverend Clay Evans. Put your hands together for the Chairman Emeritus of Rainbow Push. So glad to be with you today. We're so glad that we're able to give our children all of the supplies that they need. Hey, thank God for a great school year. We're putting our children together. We're mindful of the more than 16,000 children in the Chicago public school system alone who are homeless. There are more than that. We must save our children. We're mindful of the children in poverty. We must save our children. We're mindful of the children who are in spiritual poverty. We must save our children, amen? That's why we're here today. Put your hands together, everybody. We welcome our television audience, Impact Television, which is the largest African-American owned church network in the country, coming out of Detroit. We thank God for them today. We're live on WVON, Black-owned radio here in Chicago. That's right, give some love to our musicians today. Reverend Brian Jones, Maurice Mahan. We're so glad to be here. And we want to thank all of you for coming here, supporting our children. This is so very, very important. It's just a little feedback, and it's live TV. We're all good, are we not? All right, everybody. For those of you who are following us on Facebook, we want you to create a watch party and continue to share this video. Forward it, share it right now, please. Tweet about us. Please, everybody who has their phones here today, put it on mute. Put them on mute, please. But share this broadcast. We're on the Rainbow Push page. We're on Reverend Jackson's page. Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., we want you to share this. We want to share this experience because we want to replicate what we're doing here in Chicago, all over the country and all over the world. Our children deserve to be saved, amen? Our children deserve our support, amen? So I hope that you will go on Facebook right now and share this. Please, everybody, pull out these phones, share it. These children, if you don't know how to do it, the children do. Yes, they do. So please do that. And I hope that you will join me every weekday from 6 to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm the host of Morning Drive on the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, The Santita Jackson Show. I hope that you will join me so that we can have some progressive talk, because in fact, yesterday, we just had Reverend Attorney Jeanette Wilson and Dr. Sonia Whitaker from Dolton, Illinois, the Deputy Superintendent of Schools, talking about what our children need. Amen? So we want you to take the word and go forth and let them know what they need. And we are giving special love and special prayers to our brothers and sisters from the Bahamas today. Amen. Oh, Hurricane Dorian cannot get them down. So far, we've heard about more than 30 who have made their transition, who've been killed in this storm. More than $7 billion worth of damage, but we really don't know yet. These are the initial estimates. This just happened. They are our people, and we are going to help them, right? All right now. And we're going to be hearing from the Honorable Michael Fountain, who is the head of their consulate here. We're so excited about that. But we're going to have a musical selection from one of my favorite choirs, right? The Fellowship Voices of Genesis. Amen. Come on, you all. You can do better than this. Come on, give them some love.
What I want for my life. God's will is what I want.
together for the Fellowship Voices of Genesis Choir. And this is our incoming First Lady. Sharp, come on, give her some love. We are dedicating our show today for one of our longtime family members, Frank Hare. We love Frank Hare, and we will always honor and revere Frank Hare. Many of them, he was a Chicago police officer who just came in to take care of Reverend, but he just became part of the family, and we thank God for him. And we also thank God for the family of Walter Payton today. Did you see the statue that they erected in his honor today? Amen. Ironically enough, though, the statue was also erected with Papa Bear, George Hallis, yes? All right, put your hands together for the Hallis family. But tomorrow, on Reverend Jackson's nationally syndicated radio show, Keep Hope Alive, and we do hope that you will get your iHeart apps. If you're in Chicago, go to WVON so that you can listen later on. But if you want to listen live, go to @Patriot AM 1150 or @Real Talk 910 on the iHeart app so that you can hear something, Aunt Martita, that many of us do not know. Initially, there was a 12-year ban on black athletes from the NFL. How many of you knew that? How many of you knew that? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Reverend Jackson brought that to me yesterday. And so we are going to talk about that because ironically, all of the jerseys that they were wearing in commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the NFL, there's no black player who would have worn it because they were not allowed in initially. All right? All right, everybody. So keep hope alive, and we do hope that you will join us at Rainbow Push on Monday night for Let's Talk About It with Santita Jackson and friends. Our special guest will be the great Reverend Stephen Thurston III, amen, from Salem. That's right, from the House of Hope. We're going to be talking about relationships. He has got a book, Mirror Moments, an inside look at relationships. Who's blaming whom? It could be with your family. It could be with anyone in your life. We're going to be talking about that. Will you join us at 6 o'clock on Monday night at 930 50th Street? You're going to join us? We hope so. We hope so. Everybody, we have been at the border, and I want to thank this son of Operation Push, who is now a pastor himself. We're so proud of him that he has gone from being a son of Push to being a man of God in his own church from the St. James Community Church here in Chicago. Welcome, Reverend Will Hall, everybody.
Oh, come on, y'all can do better than that. It's good to be alive, isn't it, Push? Come on, are you excited to be alive another Saturday morning? Those of you that are watching us, wherever you're watching us, give us a call, 773-256-2700. Check in with us. Let us know. Those of you that are on Facebook, share it. Let us know where you are watching us. Today, I'm excited because we have just gotten back from Juarez, Mexico, where we brought everything that we said we were going to bring to the border to help families that were in need. Come on, can we celebrate the vision of Rev.Jesse Lewis Jackson, you all? Come on, he has a heart that's big, that's wide. And while you're clapping, we brought 100,000 diapers to the border, you all. We brought 200,000 wipes. We brought over 100,000 tubes of toothpaste. Come on, celebrate that. 100,000 toothbrushes, over 50,000 bars of soap, over 2,000 socks for children. We bought 300 pairs of shoes for children. We bought 300 sandals for children. That's all you got, y'all. We brought everything you can imagine. We brought love to the border, you all. We help Hondurans, we help Guatemalans, we help Ugandans, we help Haitians, we help Mexicans, we help those all across the world that are at this border. For those of you that do not know, the PUSH stands for a specific thing: people united to serve humanity. And it is inhumane to separate children from their parents. It's inhumane to keep kids in cages, parents in cages. It's inhumane not to feed those that are hungry. And so we pushed our way to the border, but we did not get there alone. We want to thank Congress Lady Escobar. Come on, celebrate her. That's her district. She did a great job. We want to thank Hope Border Network, who made so many calls on our behalf. We want to thank the Border Network Institute that made calls on our behalf. And we want to thank all of the clergy here in Chicago. Everybody you can imagine helped us to get that truck to the border. So come on, can we celebrate all of our support? It was so many, and so we are grateful for each and every last one of them, and we're grateful for you. And so one of the things that I want to share as we get ready to move forward to celebrate our children is simply this, that Dr. King said the right time to do the right thing is always the right time. Essentially, that's what he said. And so what I want to suggest to those of you that are calling us and those of you that are watching us, the right thing to do is now to help our brothers and our sisters in the Bahamas. If we can start here in Chicago and make sure that these children have book bags on the block, then we can move to the border, then we can cross the border and cross the seas to Bahamas. And so we need your support. Those of you that want to help, always remember you can give us a call to help those and serve those who are in need of our help. And later on in this broadcast, you all, you're going to hear from two giants. Reverend Rodney Patterson was with me on Tuesday and Wednesday, and Jonathan Luther Jackson. Both of these men have a lot to share about education and what happened in the border. So stay tuned, and remember, let us continue to push so that we can change the world today. Come on, put your hands together for all that we're continuing to do.
Back to school. I need some energy. Come on. Are you glad about it? God has blessed us to give. Whether you're on the receiving end of the gift or if you are the giver, it's a blessing either way. You can't help somebody without helping yourself, and you cannot be helped without needing to help somebody else. Amen? So that's what we're doing today. Put your hands together. Come on, everybody. That's right. I think I see Mrs. Greg Mathis in the audience. That's right, Judge Greg Mathis is like, and she's a teacher. We love you. We love you. Come on, put your hands together. Amen. You know, Reverend Jackson started this Push for Excellence program before there was a spotlight on it. Many of us remember when it came into prominence in the late 70s, but for more than 50 years, Reverend Jackson has gone to jails, to prisons, to mental health facilities, and to grammar schools and high schools. I cannot tell you how many people over the course of my life who said, I saw your daddy speak someplace. He came to my low grammar school. He came to my high school. And then suddenly it got big, just very quickly. Vice President Hubert Humphrey, just before he died, called a few people, and he wanted to meet with them to share his vision of America and to give them some love and encouragement. And one of the persons he called was Rev.Jesse Jackson. He took my brother Jonathan with him because it was his birthday weekend, along with Irv Kupsinet, renowned columnist here in Chicago. And so we were able to take off from there because the Department of Education became involved, at that time. And so we want you to know the history behind this program. It predates Push Excel. This was Reverend just ministering to our children, saving the children. We even have a movie of that name, Saving the Children. That's why we are going to work with our brothers and sisters from the Bahamas, because if we can help everybody else, we can help you. Amen? And so it is in that spirit today that we have Judge Hill, who is not in retirement. This is his avocation. He works with these children week in and week out, giving them a sense of themselves, a sense of history, so that they can get before the world and speak with confidence. And so it is with great pleasure and honor that I bring to you a young lady from an area called South Holland, Illinois. It's like Compton. It's like Harlem. It's like the Bronx. It's like Bethlehem. It's like where everybody says something good can come out of this place. And I want you to put your hands together for this fourth grader from the Calvin Christian School, Christiana Gray. Get on your feet and give her some love. Come on now.
Good morning, Operation Push, and everyone else here on today. Today I will be reciting Ain't I a Woman, written by Sojourner Truth. Well, children, there is so much racket. There must be something out of the kilter. Well, I think the Negroes of the South and the women of the North keep talking about rights. Well, the white man gonna be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? The man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helped me into carriages or lifted over mud puddles or ever gave me any best place. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man. And if I could bear the lash as well, when I could get it. I born 13 children. Now that's a lot. Sold out to slavery. And when I cried under my mother's grief, nothing, I tell you nothing, but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Now, what's the thing they call in the head? Intellect. That's it, honey. What does that have to do with women's rights and Negroes' rights? Let me tell you. 'Cause if my cup only holds a pint and yours holds a quart, won't you be mean not to let me have my little measure full? Now, that black man over there says that women can't have as much rights as men 'cause Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? It came from God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with it. Now, if there was a woman strong enough to turn the world upside down, then together they would be able to turn it the right side up again. And the man better let him. Now, old Southern Truth got nothing more to say. Thank you, Operation Push and Rev.Jesse L. Jackson for this great opportunity.
Come on, put your hands together for Christiana Gray. Come on, this is one of our children.
Listen. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. I may be down but not destroyed, empty but not void, 'cause I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am somebody. You can turn and walk away, but at the end of this day, you gotta say, I am somebody. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I am somebody. God made me so I am somebody. Oh, at the end of this day, you can try to walk away, but I am somebody. Oh, try to walk away, sing, I am, oh, I am somebody, oh, I am somebody. Hey, at the end of this day, try to walk away, but I am somebody.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Respect me, protect me, never neglect me. I am somebody. Stop the violence, save the children. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it. My mind is a pearl. I can learn anything in the world. Stop the violence. Say, keep hope alive for the Bahamas. Keep hope alive for Nassau. Keep hope. Let me hear you scream.
Oh, at the end of this day, trying to walk away. Let me hear you say, I am. Oh, I am somebody. Look at your neighbor, say, neighbor. I made it at the end of this day. Trying to walk away, say, I am somebody.
When the storms of life rage, they rage on the just and the unjust alike. When we interfere with God's world, God speaks with great thunder. Who wants to make God angry? The North and South poles with extremes. It's cold and ice. When you crash the placenta with carcinogens and the sun hits the ice and melts the ice, the water rises, the water gets hot and the wind blows. It happened to the Bahamas last week. We don't know how many were killed. We know that those who are living deserve us. We want two things. We want one, we want Mr. Trump to waive all rights to come to America and send all children to school. So all children from the Bahamas to have access to school right now. The president should waive the visas. All Bahamians should be allowed to come to America. Put your hands together right now. We'll talk more about it, but the Honorable Michael Fountain is here today. He is an official from the Bahamas. We'll work with him. Bahamians, you stand together. So Bahamians, give them a hand. Come on, Michael. Give them a hand. They're from the Bahamas.
Thank you, Reverend. Standing with us today, Bahamians in Chicago, we always start the same, and I'm going to start it like we do. Bahamians, are you here? I said, Bahamians, are you here? Let the world know. Reverend, our hearts are heavy, but our spirits are strong. I want you to know, I want your audience to know, that 1 week ago, as Hurricane Dorian was making its way into the Bahamas, and news reports were coming out, and pictures were being sent all over the world, and our hearts were filling with fear and dread and angst and pain at the thoughts of what was happening to our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers. And I was called to do radio and TV interviews Monday and Tuesday. On Tuesday, I got a call from Reverend Jackson, and he gave me 7 words. He said, Brother Fountain, we stand at the ready. And I knew that God was speaking to the Bahamians, that he was still with us in our time of crisis and challenge. That we had a man of God with us who would bring phenomenal resources to bear through Rainbow Push. I want you to know today that we are announcing the first of our strategic partnerships under the banner Bahamas Forward. Rainbow Push is our first partner. The Rev.Jesse Jackson is our first partner. Let's give him a round of applause for standing up and making sure the world knows and never forgets what's going on in the Bahamas, because the news cycle has passed Bahamians by. He has not. I have responsibility for one of the 8 jurisdictions in the Midwest. I service Bahamians all throughout the Midwest. And we have work to do. We will not stop that work under the Bahamas Forward banner until we have utilized and exhausted every conceivable resource of support for surviving Bahamians. And we will not cease until every surviving Bahamian is in a place returned to where he or she can call home. We are mourning now. We are grieving. We do not know the numbers on those who have perished. So the news coming out of our beloved Bahama land is going to get worse before it gets better. But we are together here, showing you who we are, letting you know that we are here, accepting your help and support. Because as we grieve and as we mourn, we will stand, we will fight, and we will rebuild the Bahamas better than ever. I want to thank a couple of more partners who have emerged this week. One of our Bahamians, Shantae Brown, got her job to contribute not only space to receive donated items, but also to be able to ship them out to parts southeast and in country. Her company is Visual Comfort Group in Skokie. I've heard from Mr. Early Walker at W&W Towing, who during Hurricane Harvey sent half his fleet of tow trucks down and is in contact and partnership with trucking companies, so we've got that on our side. I have heard from Mayor Lightfoot. I have heard from the office of President Preckwinkle. I have heard from the office of Leader William Davis of the Illinois House, and I heard yesterday from Congresswoman Robin Kelly. All, as Reverend said, all stand at the ready to help the Bahamas. As we have welcomed those from all shores to our shores, and the world has responded, a grateful Bahamian nation thanks you. And one last thing, the Bahamas is not underwater. The Bahamas is not closed. The islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama were affected, but the Bahamas is open, and we need you to visit, and we need you now more than ever. Please come and see us. Share our beauty, share the love of the Bahamian people. And I say, may God bless the United States of America, and may God continue to bless and keep the people and the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you.
Come on, put your hands together. Are we going to help our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas? Are we going to help our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas? Amen, amen. Today, as we go back to school, and we encourage you who are on Facebook, and we want you, those of you who have your phones out, please share this on Facebook. Forward this along. Create watch parties, because we want people to know that we are helping our brothers and sisters, red, yellow, black, brown, and white in the Bahamas, red, yellow, black, brown, and white in the mainland, because they are ours. Amen? Amen? Amen. They deserve our assistance. Please give the honorable Michael C. Fountain another round of applause. Give him some love. Show it. Act like you mean it. Everybody, today, as we look at the children going back to school, and we thank you so much for being with us today, all of our brothers and sisters and our children in the Bahamas, we're thinking of them today. We are going to have a panel on education. A panel on education. And so I want you to withhold your applause, although I have a feeling that with one of these people I call, you might just jump across your seats when you hear who we have here. The Reverend Dr. Todd Yeary, who will be speaking to higher education. Pastor Yeary, would you please come forward? Jonathan Jackson, our national spokesman. Oh, you go on. Everybody. Reverend Attorney Jeanette Wilson. Give her some love, everybody. Give some love to Reverend Yeary as well. I am looking for, is it Reverend Patterson who will be joining us? Please come forward. Oh, you can do better than that. And I think there's someone who Reverend Jackson met on the Jericho Road many, many years ago. And he has proved to be just all that you want a person to be if they are given a chance, if someone infuses them with a high dose of hope and love. Reverend Jackson met this man when he was but a boy in jail. He was so inspired by Reverend Jackson that he said, you know what, Reverend, I want to be like you. I want to work with you. And Reverend said, first, son, you've got to get out of here. But as you get out of here, and I'm going to help you do that, I'm going to work with you. And guess what? Reverend Jackson's done that with a lot of people. and we don't see them again, but that's okay. You just do God's work. But this man almost went past his television show because he wanted to work at Push, and he has never, ever left. He's with us. He's the co-chair of the Push Excel board, someone you see every day on the TV, Judge Greg Mathis. So my brother's going to deny me my hug. What? Reverend Jackson? Reverend Jackson, would you like to begin?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Say, I am.
I am.
Somebody.
Somebody.
I am.
I am.
Somebody.
Somebody.
I am. Somebody.
Somebody.
My mind is a pearl.
Is a pearl.
I can learn anything
Anything
in the world.
In the world.
Keep hope
Keep hope
alive.
alive.
This is a back-to-school season for us. We meant today to talk a lot about that. But the Bahamas crisis came upon us. We must serve when the time is right to do what is right. So we're going to organize children from the Bahamas and get them in schools. Hampton University made a bold step. Any student from the Bahamas who's in college, they open up space at Hampton. Give Hampton University a big. Yeah. Also, we want President Trump to waive the visas process. Any Bahamian who wants to leave the island while it is down, come to America to live with some family members until Bahamas is restored. So we want America to make room for all the Bahamian people. Make room for our children. The difference between the Bahamas and South Carolina is a boat stop with the same people, a boat stop apart. Put your hands together for the Bahamas. I want to, last week we covered services. Jonathan, you went to El Paso, Texas, you and Will Hall. What did you see down there, Jonathan?
Well, I'd like to say thank you to Reverend Patterson and Reverend Will Hall for their outstanding leadership. El Paso is on the United States side of the border. Juarez, Mexico is on the other side of the border. There's a channel, a canal that separates the two. So to see an American flag partially on a placard, a Mexican flag on the other part, you realize God did not make borders. That it's the same body of people. It's the same people that connect. Before there was the United States, there was a group of indigenous people in Mexico. And thus we get the name New Mexico because it was land that was taken and annexed. So however you try to fight God's divine providence in connecting his people, it will not work. What we saw there were people that had come out of the triangle of Central America and Honduras and Nicaragua and El Salvador, the particular hot spots. This is the area that we remember when we look back on history, that President Reagan was shipping guns for arms. The United States was actively involved in overturning governments, and they have fueled the fire. Well, guess what? When you set someone else's house on fire, what do? You go look for refuge in another place. Those persons whose countries were destroyed by United States intervention are now seeking those gang-infested, drug-run countries to come to America. The same thing is happening in Europe with colonialization. After they've stolen all the money out of Africa, where do the African people want to go? To where their money was taken to. The same thing is happening now, is that the crisis also shows the underbelly and the ugly side of the United States and our lack of compassion, particularly for people of color. The second part, it also shows the racism and discrimination within the Mexican government. The Mexican government can help those black and brown people from their southern part of the borders. So just because they all speak Spanish doesn't mean they're all living in God's will. Even people that speak Spanish will turn on other persons that speak Spanish.
Give it up for Jonathan. Last week, we sent a truckload of products to Juarez, Mexico, and to El Paso. Reverend Pastor and Reverend Will Hall led delegation. Reverend Pastor, what did you see in El Paso last week?
What I was most impressed by was the determination of the people that are on the ground and have been on the ground for the last 30 years. I think because of Reagan's racism in a popular kind of way and him magnifying the issue of the border in his current stance as president, we seem to think that this is a new issue. It's not a new issue. It's an issue that has been problematic since previous presidents were doing what they were doing. And so what we learned first and foremost is that Bush had a hand in this. Hate to say it, but Obama had a hand in this. And presidents before him had a hand in this. And so there are folks that have been on the ground working on this issue for the last 30, 40 years. What I'm grateful for is the humanitarian acts of Operation Push and Hope Institute and other folks that are really trying to make sure that the border problem doesn't remain a border problem, and that the legislation that needs to happen to transform and transition folks from asylum-seeking opportunities happens in a way that brings dignity and respect to people all across that country.
I want to express thanks to Reverend Patterson and Reverend Will Hall and Jonathan for going to El Paso and to Juarez as we continue to free people on the border. Reverend Todd Yeary, our Vice President, who was also will become the Washington Bureau Chief in D.C., Reverend Patterson and Reverend Yeary. Last week, Walmart made a bold move to stop access to guns. Talk about that a minute.
Last week, Walmart made the decision that they would no longer sell ammunition for handguns and long guns in any of its stores, and they would disallow open carry in its stores, even though state law might make it permissible. What it said was that Walmart, as a profit-driven company, had decided to realign where it would draw its profits from. And so it's an indication that with mass shootings, with gun violence, there is a profiteering that's attached to it that never gets discussed, because we spend a lot of time in shock over the carnage, but somebody's making money in the presence of stepping over and walking past dead bodies. And so we've got to talk about which companies. As a matter of fact, we need to look at which companies are in the profit-making business tied to gun manufacture and ammunition manufacturing, the deployment of weapons of war in civilized zones. What you really have created is what Walmart has taken is a shifting of the conversation, not just around who carries what guns and who has access to which guns, but how we connect the issue of mass shootings to profiteering in the United States that benefits many of the folks who are supporting the current government policies.
What's different about Texas, you have the right to carry a weapon open in the streets. When they pulled a guy over in the car last week, the rifle in the back seat was legal. He went down the street and killed 7 people. We are against open carry. Matter of fact, Walmart took a position, and then Kroger and Walgreens. We want the NFL and the NBA and the MLB take a public position against state government saying we do not want guns in the vicinity of our ballparks. Because with these weapons, they can walk up to a given ball game, just open up fire. They can't be stopped. Some years ago, Judge Mel, we talked about it. They had a guy in the tower at University of Texas shooting people on the campus. So we want universities to take a position against open carry. We want churches, I talked about Reverend Freddie Haynes and other ministers, say churches should take a position. They do not want guns in their churches or in their parking lots. Universities should take a position, no guns in their classrooms, on their campuses. We need, despite massive nonviolence. We saw what happened, Greg, in Hong Kong when people resisted a violation with massive action, massive change. So we're really going to mobilize with your help and others, Greg, to stop the easy access to guns in Texas.
Excellent, because what we're seeing is carnage throughout our country, whether it's in the communities that are of the dominant complexion, if you will, or whether we see it in the inner cities where the guns have been dumped and where the laws allow those who are inclined to participate in the criminal enterprise, if you will. Those laws allow the gang members and the drug dealers to go state to state and purchase guns where the state regulations are much more loose than states like Chicago. Yes, it's hard to purchase a legal gun in Chicago because there are strong regulations, but all they have to do is go right across the border to Indiana, where there are weak regulations, and they bring those guns back to our community. So we're killing ourselves. It's called fratricide, but just as importantly, those outside of the inner city of the other complexion are killing themselves in mass numbers. So clearly on both sides, we see guns destroying the fabric of our community and of our nation. And so this is a cause that we all must mobilize ourselves, but because we see that it's killing our children. How do we mobilize? You contact. I want you all to reach out to the National Rifle Association and try and touch their hearts too. Email them. Email the U.S. Senator, the top person in the Senate. Email him and let him know that you want to make sure that guns are off the street in your community, and do that with stronger regulations. We've heard our president flip-flop. He likes to play three-card monte on us. He tells us he's going to do one thing and points out the victory, and before you know it, he has flipped that red card on us and all of us lose. So we need to make sure we are reaching out to our leadership nationally and letting them know that we want gun regulations that will get the guns out of our community and out of the hands of the mentally ill and the criminally inclined. And we email McDonald. He is the Mitch McDonald is the head of the U.S. Senate. Email him as well, because he is a key player in these regulations.
Let me stress, today we decided to focus, on what happened on the border with Jonathan and Reverend Patterson, and the gun flow in Texas, because you could take a semi-automatic weapon and stand outside of a ball game and shoot 100 people. They couldn't be stopped. Now, the real issue today was our children going back. Jeanette Wilson, I pushed that shelter. Give Jeanette a big hand. Jeanette. And again, what we have our children today here who are gathered today, Jeanette, bags, all these bags and books.
Well, we're excited about these young people have survived the storm in Chicago, and they represent children who are returning to school this school year. Yet many of these students will return to schools and there will be empty seats because of the gun violence. So many of their peers have been shot and killed, and so many of these young people, we're given the book bags and supplies to encourage them. We're saying to parents, you need to take your child to school every day that you can. It's not an option. We want you to meet your child's teacher, because we want these young people and the teachers that are scheduled to teach them to know we have high expectations. You don't have to know what they need to know. What you have to know is the teacher has to know you expect greatness. You expect excellence. And you expect your children to exceed you in whatever. My daughter took calculus. I never did well in math, but I didn't tell her. And she would bring home math homework. I had to go talk to the math teacher. I said, I can't help her. My husband and I both could not help her, but we sat up every night. Let's watch and do your homework. Turn off the television. Turn off your cell phone. Turn off all electronic equipment. We need to work on homework. And she'd show us the paper, and we said, what did your teacher say? And then she'd tell us something the teacher said, and we'd look at it and nod. Take your child to do homework when you get home. You watch them. You don't even have to understand it all, but just say, what did your teacher say? And show me on the paper. Make them unball the paper. You got to send flat paper back to school. and help them understand technology. Don't buy those games. Buy them a computer that they can use for school. They don't need those video games and stuff. While you spending money on gym shoes, your child needs to be into the technology. That's why we're saying we're dealing with STEM. Your child needs to study with a certain kind of music. You can't study with music that gets you ramped up. You can't focus if you're bouncing. So you got to learn, teach them some classical music. Is that right, Reverend?
Yeah, look, we want 16. So number one, parents, take your child to school. Don't sin. Take your child to school.
Even high school.
Number two, meet your child's teachers. Teachers teach differently.
Teachers teach
when
differently.
Parents, no teachers. Children,
and
no both. Exchange home numbers
or cell numbers.
Turn the TV off.
3
hours a night.
3 hours a night.
Pick up your child's report card.
Pick up your child's report
every 9
card.
weeks. And take your child to church.
Take your child to church.
Temple. Synagogue. Once a week. Put your hands together. Now, we have 1,000 book bags here today. Children stand. Babies, let the children stand.
K to 12th graders all stand. Young people, over here, stand. Students, stand. If you go to any school, stand.
We're going to give them book bags today. We're also going to send 1,000 book bags to the Bahamas as well.
Right.
We expect as soon, right now, we're not taking up any products for the Bahamas. I need you to hear from me, Michael, because we can't get the products into the Bahamas. We don't know where to send them. But they're still recovering bodies at this point. Recovering bodies. So maybe in a week we'll be sending clothes and goods to the Bahamas. Right now we want those who are there to be able to come to America or come to Britain, as the case may be, right? Come to America and children to come to school. That's the first stage. We'll talk about that today. Next we'll probably be loading up airplanes. We talk with FedEx and we talk with Delta and talk with United Airlines and talk with UPS about plane loads to the Bahamas. But right now they're recovering bodies, so it's the inappropriate time for that. But that's a matter of time. We ask you to send money. Founder, people want to send money. Where can you send, Founder? Come right quick. To the Bahamas.
We've got 2 organizations that we're looking at. One of them, top of the list, Head Knowles. They do frontline, on-the-ground relief. They are at, you can contribute to them at www.onealuthra.org/donate. And for all updates and information and other verified sources where you can give money, that would be at www.bahamas.com/donate. www.bahamas.com/relief. www.onealuthra.org/donate. Thank you.
Rainbow Push will be working on getting Bahamians into America and to Britain until they can get back home and children in school. We're not taking up any money. Money gets funny. Say Rainbow Push.
Rainbow Push.
Not taking up money. We're providing service. We intend go to the Bahamas. Meet with the people. Give them inspiration. Now, the King High is one who we've adopted. The drum line, King.
1 minute.
Come on, King High. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. We've adopted King High and Dunbar and Hyde Park and Kenwood and Hyde Park and Doggett. We intend to increase student attendance and participation. The principal of King High, Sam is the principal of King High. The principal, they give him a hand. Give it up to the principal.
I had to learn to speak in front of everybody quickly all the time, so I'm excited to be here. King College Prep is excited to be here. We're in a rebranding, rebuilding process. I'm excited for the band. I'm excited to be a part of the Kenwood, North Kenwood, and the Oakland community. We're looking to have great things, not just this year, but for the next 3 years. We're currently enrolling. We have about 500 students. We're looking to fill about 300 more seats. And it's just, it's a great opportunity. We can provide a safe, nurturing environment where we have small class sizes and personalized learning. And we're looking to send not just our kids to the HBCUs, but some of the, what we would call the PLTs, PLTWs. But it's definitely, we have a student at the University of Chicago. We got students down through the band and through the great work of Mr. Washington to Clark Atlanta, Fisk, and what's my school? And NCAT. Thank you. And so I'm getting to know everyone. I'm 45 days into what this new work is presenting, and I'm learning the community, and I'm looking for my entry points. But I'm also looking for support from the parents. The community is we can't do it without you guys. Sometimes we drop them off, and I say now more than ever, this is when my students, our kids, need us the most. And so I just want to make sure that I'm saying hello not just to the Rainbow Push community, to the entire Chicago community, as we're trying to do some great things along what we would call the greater Bronzeville community. So thank you again for having us here, and we are looking for a great school year.
Close out, Jonathan.
I'd like to say a very special thank you to all that came out today and to our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas. God knows you all are some of the strongest people on planet Earth. Who can survive a Category 5 hurricane sitting on top of the island for over 48 hours? God knows the Bahamians are some strong people. And I want us to leave knowing the name of Madison, Washington. Madison, Washington. What a great people we will continue to strive to be when we know our history. There was a young man that was a cook in Virginia that loved his wife so much, he was trying to get back to the plantation to free her. He ended up having to go to Canada to earn money, came back, and he was apprehended, kidnapped again, put back into slavery, put on a ship called the Brig Creole. The Brig Creole left around Richmond, Virginia and Roanoke, going back towards New Orleans, where they were manufacturing and distributing those slaves. Lo and behold, this man cut his locks. They had a slave revolt on the boat. And they said because the British had freed those in the colony on the Bahamas, navigate this ship to the Bahamas. The man's name is Madison, Washington. And of those 138 people that were freed, as a result, this was the first most successful slave uprising and revolt. It happened in the Bahamas. God knows a Hurricane 5, Category 5 cannot stop the Bahamian people. We love you. Go on, Bahama.
People.
Put the hand together. On the feet, everybody. On your feet, everybody. On your feet. Come on, Mahan.
People, keep on gunning. Soldiers, keep on warring. World, keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long. To me in my face, my people, y'all, don't stop dying, no. Whoa, keep on try it again. It's the last time I'll ever need the whole world to sing, y'all. So glad that I know more than I do then. We got to keep on trying till we reach higher ground. Yeah. Listen, lovers, you got to keep on loving one another. Preachers, don't stop preaching, no. Believers, we got to keep on believing. It won't be too long, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to our International Saturday morning broadcast. We need your support. Here are ways to give to Rainbow Push Coalition. Text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to pound 41444 to support the work of Rev.Jesse Jackson Sr. and Rainbow Push Coalition. When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
Let me express my thanks to you for your support across the years. We've been in this building for 47 years. Nelson Mandela spoke here, and Harold Washington spoke here, Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., and Gus Savage, and Charlotte Hayes. So many people across the years. This has been a kind of refuge, a place from which we launch great ideas. Your movements for action for registration and jobs, and just another building is about to collapse under the heavy, heavy rain and winter in Chicago. We need to raise $1 million for a restoration campaign. Churches, please take up a donation for us, our individuals. Chase made the Push People United to Serve Humanity. People United to Serve Humanity is a tax-exempt organization. This is a Rainbow Push, is a push in effect as a church. We need your support today.
Get involved with the movement.
Somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Join the movement.
If you're not a member, become a member.
I am somebody.
Fighting the most important battles for freedom and justice for all.
You made us change. Oh, trying to bring closer.
Join Rainbow Push.
But you know